لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. قال الله عز وجل في كتابه الكريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. وقال في مقام آخر: يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. وقال في مقام آخر: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. My brothers and sisters in Islam, indeed we are going through some very trying times right now, a time that perhaps the Ummah has never seen. Pandemics always existed, sicknesses always existed, plagues always took place in history, but never to the extent where we were all trapped, in a sense, within our own homes, not even able to go to the masjid, not able to perform Jumu'ah prayer, our basic prayers, Taraweeh, Eid. This is something that perhaps the Muslim Ummah has never seen in its history, to be away and locked up from the most beloved places, the Masajid of Allah, for so long. It's been almost 2 months now, actually a little longer, or just about for some people. And, we're not able to do our own basic obligations. Of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is understanding of the situation, and our scholars, of course, have guided us in these trying times as well. And, they have concluded that due to this pandemic and respecting the laws of our land, that we should not congregate for Jummah and so forth as we usually do, with a packed house, and congregate for Taraweeh and other events. But instead, for Jummah specifically, we pray Dhuhr at home, just your 4 raka'at. If you happen to have a group within your house of 3 or 4 people, then feel free to, perform the Jummah amongst yourselves. According to some scholars, you can do that, but others have just advised, just go ahead and pray your 4 raka'at of Dhuhr. This is a very trying time indeed. It's difficult. It's difficult to be away from the masjid, to see the masjid, to feel the masjid, and to see our brothers and sisters like we usually do, especially in this blessed month of Ramadan where we get together so often. And it's such a social month for us where we come together. A lot of people we don't even see the whole year, but we see them in Ramadan, and we don't even have that this year. And then of course, at the end of Ramadan, as we always do, we have Eid. And unfortunately this year it looks like we will not be able to have an Eid prayer or a large Eid gathering either. So this is something, unfortunately, that we will have to adjust to and just make the best of it, inshallah, amongst your immediate family and friends. And, of course, as long as you are staying within the regulations outlined by your states. But, what we can do during these trying times is just try to make the best of the situation. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes it. Not a single person can say they prefer this virtual Ramadan over the previous Ramadans. Nobody will say that. But what we can say is we can reap benefit with the situation that we have. It's still the month of Ramadan. Deeds are still multiplied. Good deeds are still multiplied in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That will not change whether you are in your house or here in the masjid. Of course, coming to the masjid, deeds are multiplied too. Prayers are multiplied, 26, 27 times with each jama'ah. But there are other good deeds you can continue to do outside of the masjid, and we should try to do them. One of them, of course, is seeking knowledge. This is probably maybe the biggest benefit out of this whole shelter in place is that you are connected virtually with all the scholars of the world, with your local imams, and knowledge is coming at you left and right at your fingertips. So we should, inshallah, try and gain as much knowledge as we can in this blessed month. Just think of it as a month where you are locking yourself down and doing a 30-day or 60-day intensive on Islam. Every day you should go to sleep, and try to gain something, inshallah, from the different virtual sessions that many masajid, many scholars are doing. Here, as you know, at ICIE, we have lots of things going on to help you stay engaged. We have a Fajr Khatara every morning at 5 a.m. Then we have Quran recitation in the evening before iftar. And then at 9 p.m. we have our nightly Khatara, including our 30-day hadith challenge. 30 hadith is the goal, to memorize, to understand, inshallah, to implement as well. And as you know, we're giving out monetary prizes for the winners of that challenge as well. So try to take some benefit from the situation that you are in. Nobody likes it. There is a level of depression, frustration, maybe even anger, sorrow, you name it. It's there. It's understandable. But it's okay. Inshallah, once this is all over, this will be a distant memory, inshallah. And it will come soon. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised, فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. إِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. That verily with hardship only comes ease. Verily with hardship only comes ease. We are going through a hard time right now, but what will follow will be times of ease, where inshallah we will go back to normal as much as possible, or maybe even completely back to the way we used to do things. Wallahu alam. No one can say, the previous normal will never be normal again. No. These are just estimations people place to somewhat their educated guesses, but no one can truly say that. No one can say that we will wear masks forever coming into the masjid and social distance, maybe temporarily, but we will go back to our ways, the ways of worshiping our Lord the way we used to. Not just Muslims, but even those who share different faiths than us. They will go back to the way they worship as well. This will come to an end, inshallah. But use this time wisely to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the deen of Islam, with the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam as much as you can. Our tendency in times like this is just to lock ourselves up in our room, go to sleep for 16, 20 hours a day. Some people sleep all day. Don't waste your day away sleeping. What are you going to get out of sleeping 16, 18 hours? Especially the youth. I know a lot of you do that because you don't have school, or at least you don't have to attend physically, and you do things virtually, so things get laxed. I hear stories of youth sleeping all day, and then they stay up a few hours at night, and then they wake up at 2 or 3 p.m. During the day. These are not habits of Muslims. We don't, go to sleep in this type of manner. We are people who value time and try to make the best of the time that is given to us, because we know it is limited. It is limited. Despite the hardship we're going through, it is still taking away from the time that we have on this earth in our life. So you have to make use of it. Don't sleep it away. Don't, go into depression and frustration and not do anything good either. because then you'll come out of this with a loss. We want to come out of this situation as winners, and we're going to do the best we can, inshallah. We're going to increase our ibadah at home, and whatever way we can help someone, we will do that too, inshallah. And I'll mention that in the second khutbah very shortly. But to close right now, I just want to let you all know that please keep your faith firm, have hope. This is only temporary, and it will be gone soon, inshallah. And we will soon be reunited with our communities at large, with our masajid, and we'll go back to those days where we enjoyed those gatherings, we enjoyed the company of each other, but you just got to hold on a little bit longer, but do the best you can till we get there. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. Out of the many good things that we can do in this month, of course, salah, zakah, that's an obligation, along with salah. Our siyam, another obligation. We can also help others and help institutions and masajid. And your own masjid here at ICIE is in need of your support. We haven't had Jumu'ah here in a long time. And a lot of our donations come when we have large gatherings like Jumu'ah, when 700, almost 1,000 people come here to congregate. They always drop something off in the donation box because they're in the environment. And they may not even live in the area, but they appreciated that a masjid was here and they were able to fulfill their obligation in the middle of Rancho Cucamonga, city that they may not even have heard of. And others that come here regularly, they also appreciate coming into the masjid. They feel motivated in the house of Allah and they donate. So we would get donations regularly every Friday. That, as you know, is gone. We don't have those gatherings anymore, and unfortunately, my brothers and sisters, those donations have gone too. We also missed the month of Ramadan, where we gathered in large congregations, right? We had, on a nightly basis, easily a few hundred people. In some cases, I would say easily 400 to 500 a night. On bad days, at least 300 to 400. And then we have nights like the 27th night when we have overcrowding, close to 700, 800 people. And then we have our khatam, that we never get less than 1,000 people here. All those nights, of course, we use those nights to collect sadaqah for the house of Allah. We also perform fundraisers, which we're not able to do. And we get motivated seeing each other and we give, but we've lost that motivation, obviously, that physical motivation. But we're doing the best we can here virtually. And I'm appealing to all of you here today, this blessed day of Jumu'ah in Ramadan, that please do not forget the house of Allah. Your own masjid here, ICIE, needs you, and we need to collect as much as we can to sustain this house. Even though the masjid is closed, the expenses are not. We still have expenses that incur on a monthly basis, and we need to take care of them. So we've launched, as you all know, a Launch Good page where we are trying to, meet a certain goal. Unfortunately, we haven't gotten there yet. We're not quite there yet. So we need your help. So I'm going to ask all of you today, after this reminder, to please log on and give something, whatever it may be. I need you to give something. And I know it's hard. Some of you perhaps have lost your jobs. Some of you maybe have your businesses on hold. But you know what? Giving during these times, when it is so difficult, wallahi, it is not like giving when times are good. Your reward will be multiplied like no other. In fact, giving at this time of difficulty, uncertainty, you may even have a job, but you may be hesitant to give because you don't know what will happen tomorrow. Giving during this time will not be like giving at any other time. And I can promise you that. Because number one, this is Ramadan. And number two, this is a trial that humanity perhaps has never seen in its history due to the nature of everyone being locked inside their houses. Take advantage of this opportunity. You may not get another chance to give sadaqah and get rewarded like this time right now. Just think of the stock market, for those of you who invest or know about stocks. What do people usually like to do? When the market dips, you buy stocks so that over the next few years, they accrue, they multiply, and that $1 you put in becomes $5 in 5 years. It multiplies. And you know what? If you talk to any stock investor, if they were able to multiply a single investment by 5 times, they're a champion. They are happy. And they will tell you that was an amazing investment if you were to multiply something by 5 times. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just in general, even outside of Ramadan, multiplies our good deeds by 10 times. And then in this month, He multiplies it even more, up to 700 times. And even more if He wishes. Wallahu yudha'ifu liman yasha. Imagine an investment where you got thousands and thousands of times return, not in a few years, but compounded on a daily basis. Allahu Akbar. No one can reward like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No one can multiply your returns like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He is all-knowing. He is Al-Alim. And He understands the situation that we're in. It is a very difficult situation. But if you give during this difficult time, knowing there is so much uncertainty, we don't know what will take place in a week or two, but you being someone that believed in Allah, in His messenger, and His promise, you gave for His sake because you knew that is a certainty that we can never deny and that will never go away. When you give sadaqah, Allah will return it to you in this life and the hereafter. Inshallah, Allah will multiply this deed at this time more than perhaps any other time in our life. Wallahu a'lam. It's a possibility, but I don't want you to miss this opportunity. So whatever it is, even a youth, if you can spare a few dollars just for your own sake, don't think of it as the masjid really needs me. Yes, the masjid needs us to support it, but we need to give to sustain ourselves and build good deeds on our scales for this life and the hereafter. We are in need of giving more than the masjid is in need of receiving. We need to give so that we sustain our goodness in this life and the hereafter, and that we can stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. And perhaps He could ask about this time and say, when you had this difficult situation, when our masajid were closed, did you help sustain those masjids? Or were you just worried about your bread and water the following day? Is this what we taught you? We know better as Muslims. Our fear is not bread and water. Wallahi, we will receive food. There is not a single animal on earth that will not receive its rizq. وَمَا مِن دَابَّةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا عَلَى اللَّهِ رِزْقُهَا. There is not a single beast or animal on this earth that will not be sustained by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahi, we will get fed. And you can see that. In fact, we're getting fed to a very high degree. People are in quarantine gaining weight. You go to stores, ice cream is sold out. Whipped cream sold out. Dessert sold out. People are eating, mashallah. People are eating, and they will continue to eat. Especially in this country, where we have perhaps one of the largest obese populations in America. We will be fed. Don't worry. And you'll have a roof on your head too, inshallah. But this opportunity of giving may not come again. So I'm appealing to every single one of you that are listening here today, that make sure after this appeal, do a little something, even if it's a small amount. I want you to go on that Launch Good campaign and donate something for ICIE, inshallah. And may Allah accept this from you and make it as a means for you to enter paradise. Ameen. Rabbil Alameen. With that, inshallah, I'm going to conclude today, and I ask Allah to protect all of you, protect all of us, keep us on the straight path during these difficult times, and bring us out of this difficulty even stronger. Ameen. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم انصر الإسلام وأهله في كل مكان اللهم ردنا إلى دينك مردا جميلا وإلى سنة نبيك مردا جميلا يا ذا الجلال والإكرام اللهم احفظنا من بين أيدينا وعن أيماننا وعن شمائلنا ومن فوقنا اللهم إنا نعوذ بعظمتك أن نغتال من تحتنا Oh Allah, we ask you for your protection during these difficult times. Save us from the sickness that is going around. Save us from it and save our families, our communities from it. And for those of us who did get infected with it, oh Allah, we ask you to give us a speedy recovery. Oh Allah, we ask you to rid earth of this terrible virus. We ask you, oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to get rid of it as soon as possible so that we may come back to you, so that we may come back to worshiping you the way we used to in your house, in your beloved houses across the earth. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Oh Allah, we ask you to help those that are in depression right now, in frustration and anger. Please Allah, make it easy for them during this difficult time and let us come out of it stronger. And for those of us who have passed away, those from us that have passed away, Allah, accept them as shuhada. Accept them as shuhada. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. And give strength to all of those that are working hard to fight this disease, and especially those on the front lines. Oh Allah, we ask you to give them strength too. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Oh Allah, we ask you to please keep us on the straight path, our youth, our families during this difficult time, and let this not be a time where we turn away from you and forget about you and your deen. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. اللهم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك ولا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين وصلى اللهم على نبينا وحبيبنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين وجزاكم الله خيرا والسلام عليكم.